Have you ever pictured yourself, stepping off a plane, maybe in Magellan or Madrid,
Yeah.
and just instantly being able to connect with everyone you meet? I'm not just talking about ordering a coffee. I mean, really
Yeah.
sharing a laugh,
Nice.
telling a story, picking up on that subtle cultural cue that says, we get each other.
Mm.
That promise. That's the real allure of language learning, isn't it? And it's the part that, well, traditional classrooms often fail to deliver.
And that ultimate goal, that instant, confident application, that is precisely what we are diving into today. Our source material breaks down a very specific and structured philosophy of language learning. It's called Dual Immersion Language Options, or DILO.
Yeah.
And its whole approach is about bypassing academic theory and getting the learner straight to, well, functional fluency.
Okay, so let's unpack that. We're not looking at generic language tips here. This sounds like a systematic, almost strategic blueprint.
It is.
And the mission of this Dilo philosophy seems crystal clear: to equip you, the learner, to engage confidently in everything from casual street conversations right up to high-stakes professional settings.
Exactly. And they do it by focusing relentlessly on two pillars: real conversations and deep cultural richness.
So our deep dive today is really about pulling out the specific methods DLO uses,
Yeah.
the challenges they anticipate, and those aha moments the system promises.
Right. It's a detailed roadmap, and it's designed for both speed and substantive depth.
I like that balance. Speed without sacrificing depth. Because the goal isn't just survival, right? It's about achieving what the source calls the joy of speaking Spanish.
It's about vibrant connections, sharing laughter.
And really unveiling that cultural richness. It implies a philosophy that, I guess, frees you from agonizing over verb conjugations so you can actually share an experience.
And what's so fascinating is how Dilo elevates immersion from just a place like, I moved to Mexico, to a philosophical gold standard. For them, fluency isn't about your vocabulary count. It's about making the language a way of life.
How do they define that?
By intentionally surrounding yourself with Spanish. But, and this is the key, learning through action and connection, not through passive study.
But hold on a second. If the Dilo approach is so focused on action and conversation, doesn't that risk sacrificing grammatical accuracy for speed? I mean, we've all heard people who are conversationally fluent but couldn't write a correct email to save their life.
That is a crucial point, and the sources deal with it head-on. Dilo doesn't ignore grammar. It prioritizes what you could call functional grammar, grammar in the service of meaning.
Yeah.
Their philosophy is that the real magic happens when you step out of your comfort zone. Because those authentic interactions, they naturally correct your grammar gaps.
How so?
Well, the immediate need to be understood forces your brain to organize the language correctly and much faster than staring at a conjugation chart. The conversations are real from day one, so you're prepared for all sorts of social and professional situations.
So Dilo is really a system designed to manage the risk of interaction and make sure you're ready to produce language even under pressure.
Precisely. It's about turning intellectual knowledge into instinctive behavior.
That makes a lot of sense. If you're undertaking this, you probably have a specific situation in mind, right? A family trip, a new business deal. So let's look at how Dilo structures these environments to make that immersion actually happen. They don't just throw you in the deep end.
No, not at all. They offer these diverse pathways designed for specific learners, adults, families, professionals.
And this is where it gets really practical.
It does. It becomes delightfully concrete. For example, take the Spanish language and culinary experiences. This isn't just a fun activity, it's a dynamic sensory environment where the learning is physical.
Tell us more about the cognitive side of that. I mean, it sounds delicious, but how effective is it really?
Oh, it's tremendously effective. It taps into motor memory and sensory encoding. The source highlights that every dish you prepare is accompanied by new vocabulary and phrases.
Ah, I see.
Think about it. You aren't learning the word cuchillo for knife from a flashcard.
Right.
You're learning it because you're holding it, using it, and hearing instructions about it in real time.
As you chop, saute, taste.
Exactly. The language and culture get intertwined, and the skills are reinforced naturally. The physical act just bypasses that mental barrier of rote recall.
That really is an aha moment. Linking a word to a physical act forces you to retrieve it from motor memory, which is usually much faster than intellectual recall.
Absolutely. The memory is anchored in the smell of the spices, the weight of the ingredients.
Okay, so moving from the kitchen, they also create a supportive atmosphere with their family-oriented Spanish immersion workshops. It seems like they're intentionally creating a low-stress environment.
That's a crucial pathway, especially for building confidence. When family members, parents, children, even grandparents learn together, it creates this unique, supportive space.
The shared context makes mistakes safer.
Yes, and the shared experience strengthens family bonds, creates memories, and critically, it allows laughter to flow freely.
Which makes the inevitable mistakes less intimidating.
And more humorous, which is key.
Safety is great for family. But what about the professional world, where the stakes are much higher? Does this immersion philosophy still hold up? The cultural nuances of a boardroom are far more complex than a joke at a market stall.
It holds up because the principle is the same. Context is king. And that brings us to their immersive retreats. These combine language lessons with activities like exploring cultural landmarks or local markets. But the focus is profoundly sociological.
So it's not just a sightseeing tour with some Spanish sprinkled in.
Far from it. The vital insight here is that learning is about appreciating the rich tapestry of traditions, customs, and social norms that shape how people communicate. Things like, personal space in a conversation or the specific etiquette for addressing elders.
Right.
Without that cultural context, you just have survival phrases that might accidentally offend someone. With it, you have richer, deeper experiences and a lot less social risk.
This shift toward application is so important. If you're looking into Dilo, you probably have a specific high-stakes reason. And for many, that's professional. So let's shift to their Spanish for business professionals.
Navigating the professional world requires so much more than just linguistic skill. The sources really stress that professionals need to internalize the cultural awareness for business success.
For example?
Well, for example, understanding that in many Spanish-speaking business cultures, the negotiation often hinges on building a personal relationship. Building trust before you even discuss the contract. It's relationship first.
So what does that business toolkit actually look like? Is it just role-playing?
It's more like structured simulations and case studies designed to mimic real pressure. They practice the whole communication cycle, negotiating deals, leading presentations, networking, mastering professional jargon. The goal is always output.
Can you give some examples of the linguistic tools they use for those complex situations?
Yeah, they focus on phrases that drive substantive discussions, not just transactional ones. So instead of simple statements, they teach you how to ask for a colleague's nuanced perspective, like, ¿Cuál es su opinión sobre?
What is your opinion about?
Right, or how to introduce a new, maybe sensitive topic. Me gustaría discutir, which is, I would like to discuss. These are the conversational levers that move you from small talk into actual decision-making.
That's a huge differentiator from generic learning. Now let's pull back from the boardroom a bit. For the travel enthusiast, the person who just wants to turn a trip into an adventure Dilo still covers the essentials. But how do those travel phrases fit the immersion model?
They see those essential phrases as conversational on-ramps. It's about empowering the traveler to go from being a passive tourist to an active participant.
So they highlight the absolute must-haves.
The ones that turn a tourist into a temporary local. Phrases like, ¿Cuánto cuesta esto? How much is this? And of course, ¿Dónde está? Where is?
And the most important phrase for any culinary adventure.
Me gustaría probar. I would like to try. The point is, these aren't just questions, they're invitations to interact. Using them confidently changes the whole dynamic. It shows effort, and that lowers barriers and opens the door to a richer response from a local.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for anyone listening who's tech-savvy. Technology integration. How does this immersion-heavy, real-world philosophy deal with apps and screen time?
Technology is viewed very specifically. It's a tool for flexibility and for outsourcing the more tedious parts of the process. The sources are clear. Technology supplements immersion. It doesn't replace that crucial human interaction.
So how is it used strategically?
Well, first they mention online immersion sessions, connecting learners directly with native speakers for conversation practice from anywhere. But for the foundational toolkit, they recommend a specific mix of apps. Duolingo and Babbel are mentioned for bite-sized lessons, essentially using tech to handle that initial rote memorization part.
And what about something like Fluento? What role does that play?
Fluent U is highlighted because it uses real-world videos like movie trailers and music videos.
Ah, so it aligns with the philosophy.
Directly. It exposes you to language in authentic, fast-paced, context-rich scenarios. You learn idioms, speed, cadence, all the things a textbook can't really teach you. So technology in this framework builds the scaffolding so that your precious immersion time can be spent on complex interaction and output.
That balance between real-world experience and tech reinforcement. It seems key to maintaining momentum. Okay, let's talk about the big hurdle, overcoming challenges. The fear of failure is paralyzing for so many new learners, but Dilo demands immediate action. How does this philosophy address that anxiety around breaking the ice?
They treat that anxiety as the primary obstacle, and their solution is basically psychological reframing. They reinforce the idea that making mistakes isn't just okay, it's an absolute necessity. It's a high-speed feedback loop. The sources explicitly call mistakes stepping stones to fluency. And they stress that native speakers appreciate the effort, so the anxiety about being perfect should be channeled into just engagement.
That's easier said than done, of course.
Yeah.
But if we synthesize the challenges, what are the, say, 3 most common pitfalls Dilo identifies?
We can really condense them into 3 core pitfalls that hold people back. The first is that psychological trap, the fear of making mistakes. The solution is what we just talked about. Embrace the fumbles. They are necessary growth points.
Okay, what's number 2?
The second is a structural mistake, relying too heavily on textbooks and formal study.
Now, why is that a mistake here? Isn't structure important?
Structure is vital, but over-reliance on textbooks creates a passive learner. The argument is that it creates a disconnect from reality. Traditional study trains you to receive language reading, listening, but it fails to train you to produce it under pressure.
So the solution is to seek out real conversations.
Exactly. Real, meaningful, slightly challenging conversations where production is unavoidable.
And the third major challenge?
Number 3 is underestimating the fundamental importance of cultural understanding. If you only learn the words, you miss the context, the nuance, the unspoken rules.
Which increases the risk of miscommunication.
Hugely. So the solution is to actively participate in those cultural experiences we talked about. The culinary workshops, the immersive retreats, to understand that deeper tapestry of communication.
Staying motivated, especially when life gets busy or you hit a plateau, is so important. What do the sources say about maintaining momentum?
It's all about maintaining goal specificity. Don't just set a vague goal like, I want to be fluent someday.
Yeah.
You have to set new, realistic, and specific goals that are about output.
Like what?
Like, I want to master the Spanish necessary for ordering food without assistance, or for a professional, I want to expand my negotiation vocabulary by 50 industry terms by next month. And the final rule is consistency. The source really emphasizes that even short daily practice sessions, 5-10 minutes, lead to significant, measurable improvement over time.
This has been a really complete breakdown of a powerful philosophy. It's clear the Dilo approach frames language learning as a journey toward building functional, high-stakes relationships that go way beyond a classroom.
Absolutely. The final takeaway is that this framework is designed to make you feel comfortable and supported while communicating freely and joyfully. It really transforms learning into an act of cultural discovery.
So what does this all mean for you? The core message seems to be that learning Spanish through immersion is a holistic adventure. It's focused entirely on application, managing risk, and human connection. It's not about being tested, it's about connecting.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought. The source material talks a lot about achieving proficiency for tangible uses, travel, business, family. But if you achieve that proficiency when those initial goals are met, what deeper cultural exchange will you prioritize next?
That's a great question.
Will you use your skills for academic research, dive into literary Spanish, maybe write poetry? Or will you use your fluency to advocate for cross-cultural understanding on a global scale? What new, unexpected identity does fluency afford you when those immediate practical goals are complete? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.